So this is Tim in 20 years. Sorry. Yeah, g'day. Thanks heaps for coming to our session, and I hope we can provide some great insights. So, and I really think it's great to see the suite of programs that are being talked about here. And I think only by doing all of these programs and by sharing them with each other, I think can we really make the change that we're trying to make. So that's really great. I feel pretty privileged. If it's okay, I'm going to start by, there was a couple of questions in some of the previous sessions that I thought some answers would be interesting too. And I think Donald Munro asked about, does it really get home? And I suppose that's a really hard thing to measure. And we do measure it and we do evaluate our programs. Cascade Environmental Education Centre is 70 k's that way, up in the mountains near Dorrigo. Beautiful spot. We're surrounded by rainforest and it's been there about 40 years. We run a lot of programs, bushwalking, camping in the rainforest. It's a really magical spot. I'm the custodian of that. It's a public school, a New South Wales public school. I'm the principal. I feel like I'm in the dream job every day that I wake up. And I think I go to the local shops around here a fair bit, and the other day, and it was literally a few weeks ago, I was at the Woolies checkout, and the person said, I had my Cascade shirt on, they said, Cascade, I went there on a camp in year 3, and I remember, we did this and we did that, and I kind of get into my evaluation teacher mode, and I said, so what was what are some of the things you really remember? And they said, well, I met my best friend, and we're still really amazing friends. There's this guy called Scatman who talked about poo all the time, and and so do we get home when you hear things like that? 30, and that was like 30 years ago. That's really encouraging for a 3-day part in someone's life to have that little impact, and that's really exciting. So I'm just going through secondary schools. They are tricky, but Lisa's going to expand on that. Yes, we do work in secondary schools, and these were just some of the questions that were popping up. I'm a school principal, so I get to go to principal meetings, and I get to sell my program to my colleagues, and because I've got that, kudos or whatever it is from being a principal, they believe me, and so that's a good thing as well. So that's one of the strengths of what we offer at Cascade. So around 2014, the opportunity arose to partner with Midwaste, which is a regional waste forum that represents a number of LGAs on the mid-north coast, and we jumped at it. We were really excited to work with Midwaste, using some funds provided by them to employ some staff to run what we were hoping were going to be amazing programs. And it's not the 1 day, half a day. We really wanted to go for an in-depth, long-term approach in the schools. And because we are teachers, and hopefully you council people can understand me. That was a stupid joke. I'm not used to presenting to a lot of councils. I'm usually used to presenting to kids and teachers. So yeah, if I'm using some terminology that doesn't make sense, please ask. That was the serious part of it. So our vision was really to provide something engaging and relevant and experiential for the kids, to spread the LGA's message and provide professional development opportunities for staff, reach into the school community, all while providing real-time waste management solutions to the school. So that was a reasonably big mandate, and through Midwaste they wanted us to reach as many people as possible in each LGA with the positive message of how to reduce landfill, improve their waste management habits, and we had run a previous program called Waterwise in 3 LGAs up here, and that was based on water education, and Tim came to a Youth Environment Council meeting, I don't know if you remember, up here way back when, and ran some workshops. So that was a great project, and it's still happened. It's been going now about 8 years, where the council's similar model, pay us some money, we go into schools and do some education. We thought that would just change the name from Waterwise to ReSourceful Schools and it would all work, and it kind of didn't, just because instead of 3 we went to 8. We had about 300 kilometres to drive instead of about 60, and we had about 300,000 people in the catchment area that we're trying to teach. So a big change. And I think it's really it's really been a satisfying part of the Resourceful Schools program where we've had to actually go and meet with each council and tailor the program to their needs and to their desires. And that's been a really, really great experience, and I'm sure Lisa will talk about that. Schools are interesting places. You can go into a school and there'll be a bin there and it'll be surrounded by rubbish. And I'm sure you've all seen it, and you say to the kids, so you've got green, red and yellow bins at home, haven't you? They go, yeah. And when we go into schools, and some of the really interesting things was we were selling this program and recycling was kind of a dirty word. They just had this massive big skip that they paid, you know, whoever to come and take everything, recycling, green, whatever, in the bin, one big bin, and take it away. And we're slowly making a bit of a change. And it's interesting how these little schools are these little alien places for some reason. And getting this program into there, I think that the guys that are running it, my coordinator and the staff, have done an amazing job. So nearly two full years now, about 7,500 kids from 23 schools, and we are really excited about what the future holds. So that's my little bit. I'm just introducing it. The real worker now, Lisa, is going to talk about the nuts and bolts of the program. So thanks, Lisa.
Oh, wow, that's bright. Yes, hi, thanks, John. So I'm Lisa. I also have another name I discovered last week, or no, not last week, a couple weeks ago, when I went to a school that I'd been working in, and I went onto the playground, and a bunch of little kids came running over and going, "It's the rubbish lady," and gave me a huge hug. So I thought, yeah, that's a pretty good name for me. I'll just be the rubbish lady from now on, so I'll own that. So John spoke about what we do, and I'm just going to speak for a few minutes about how we do it and why we do it. And I'm clicking this.
Arrow to the right.
So, as John said, we work with LGA, the eight LGAs up and down the coast, Coffs being the most northern, all the way down. And we are basically trying to create long-term relationships with the schools that we work in. And how we do that is, and I was feeling really proud of myself from Brad's presentation, because this is mainly going to be photos up there, because I'm really not big on words. I'm like, yay, I get a point for having mostly photos. And saying that, when I was putting this presentation together, it was hard to get photos because we're teaching all the time and we forget to take photos of ourselves. So I would like more photos, but this is what we've got. So basically how we do it, so we go into the schools. The first step is creating a relationship with the leadership of the school. And that's not always as easy as it sounds, but it's really, really important, because with our other program that we did, the WaterWise program, we just would go in and start teaching right away. They'd say, come in, start teaching. And we just weren't getting the buy-in because the principal was somewhere else. The teachers were like, what are you doing in our classroom? So we really, with this program, we really we're very strong about the first step is going in and talking to the leadership of the school. And it's been a really interesting, the program's been, this is our second year, so it's been a really interesting journey of discovery with schools. They're all so different, like John said, they're all their own little worlds, and they all have their own unique cultures. And so what we've really had to do is adapt to each school and find out what the leadership expects of us, why we've been invited in, what their waste management is already. And we were actually surprised. We thought, well, we were going to go in and just help them with their recycling, or if their recycling is already good, we'll help them to establish gardens for their green waste. No, so many schools don't even have recycling. It's just throw it all in the bin, like John was saying. So we sit with the principals and the leadership. We hear from them. What do you want? What's your aspirations? We find out so many of them, it's just too hard, like to call the waste providers, and it's just the last thing on their list. So we offer that service as well. We have really good relationships, or we're trying to have good relationships with the waste providers around in all the different areas and the councils. It's a lot of work, so we're working on that, because there's a few of us and a lot of waste providers and council waste officers, but we're really trying to build those relationships. And yeah, so that's, and then after after we meet with the school leadership, we go in and we meet with the staff at a staff meeting, and we explain what we're doing, which is really important because teachers have so much on, and it's that little session of 20 minutes. We tell funny stories and we give away little prizes and stuff, and by the end of that session, they're actually usually quite happy to see us in the classroom the week later, and they're just welcoming and, oh yeah, and usually have heaps of questions about their own waste management. Then after we've done all that, it's into the classroom. We have interactive lessons for each classroom or stage in the school, which is important because obviously what kindergartners are going to take home is going to be different from year 6. We do games. We have a little interactive video where they have to, there's a girl on the screen that is standing there trying to figure out what to recycle, and they have to choose, and they come up and they get to put it in the little bin, and so it's really active. Worksheets we give to the teachers, all sorts of follow-up resources, and we try to make it fun, telling stories, the whole thing. We're all teachers, so we're big performers in the classroom. And then after we've gone through all the classes, we also make, and I was interested to hear about making a little movie. We come in a week later, we take a stage 3 class, year 5 or 6, we do a waste audit with them. I skipped some. And we but not just, it's a great experience for that class, but it's really important information for the whole school to learn. So we have a set of iPads that Midway's kindly provided, and we go in and we teach them to make a little iMovie of what happened in the audit, and with the idea being that a week or 2 later, or a month later, however long it takes, they can go into all the other classes in the school and share the waste audit with them. So they've gotten the initial lesson from us, and then they've got big kids coming into their class and reinforcing the message. So we, let's see. We make little videos with this is just a cute one I thought I'd show you. I'm not going to show you whole videos because they're 7 minutes long, but we use an app called Snapchat, which they love. Whoops. Chatterpix, not Snapchat. Ooh.
Hi, I'm Rubbish Bin, and I'm getting very fat from people putting rubbish, recycling and green waste when I'm only meant to have rubbish in me. Stuff that is meant to go in me is plastic bags, chip packets, straws and spoons, and lots of other stuff.
There you go. The bin has spoken. So they have a lot of fun with that, and that's just an app that you guys can download. It's a really good resource if you're in education. So we do that. The video is also a great resource to share with, and we encourage the schools to share it with the parents, the school community, put it up on the school's websites, and then that's getting that message out even more. So that's a pretty cool thing. And then finally, after we've done this whole initial education, the waste audit, the video, we celebrate. That's a really important, along the lines of Brad's positive, message, getting the celebration out there. So we invite the mayor, or if the mayor can't come, another counselor to come to an assembly, Resourceful Schools Assembly, where the children will present what they learned, their video, maybe sometimes a little song or a dance or whatever they get into. The mayor presents them with a certificate, and then there's lots of photo opportunities, which then leads to media, which is fantastic. So it's a really good kind of little process that is, it's a great achievement for the school, and then it's great for the councils to have that positive reinforcement. So then the thing is that it? Are they done? So some schools that haven't had a recycling bin now have recycling bins. That's it. At the beginning, we kind of thought, yeah, that's it. That would be our job. We'd be all done. But what we found out, because what's been important to us is follow up with our program, we call Ring them back a few months later. How's it going? And what we found is that, as you all know, I'm not saying anything new, is that the waste management is an ongoing behavior change challenge. So a school that is doing really great one year, the next year, the year 6s leave, it's a new group of kids, the kindergartners are clueless, and they just have to start all over again sometime. Or the opposite. The next year, the kids are better. It's this ongoing thing. It's been really, really interesting. Oh, I forgot one thing. The other way we celebrate is we also hold regional events once a term. We invite schools that have participated, as well as schools that haven't yet participated in the program. They come along and they get a chance to share their successes. So this is from our last one. So that's more sharing. So why it works. So this ongoing journey of trying to figure out, understanding that we go in there and we do this program, but that's not the end of it. That was the biggest lesson for us. And then, so we've adapted it so that for the second year, we built into the program the fact that we're going back into the schools if they need us. If they don't, they don't. That's fine. But that's a really important thing. So these slides are a little bit out of order, but so the reason why the program is, we feel, going from strength to strength and actually getting pretty good feedback, or really good feedback. We did, as John said, end of year evaluations and got between 98 and 100% approval from the teachers, which they're pretty hard markers, so we were pretty impressed with that. There are three reasons why we're feeling like it's a successful program and that we're going to keep going with the direction that we're going in. The first one is that we really take care to adapt our lessons and our message to each school. So for instance, if we go into a school, there's heaps of schools on the coast that are on the ocean, and that school is full of families that live on the ocean. There's surfers, all the kids are blonde, it's all, they love the oceans. We go in there and we're not going to have a big challenge to convince them to recycle. So then we can move in and go into a lot more detail on what goes in each bin, because as you all know, that changes quite a lot in each area. It's different what goes in each bin. And so those kind of schools, they just really want that information, and they want us to help them hone their recycling and their waste management skills. Another school, like here in the middle of Coffs Harbour, we were working with a school recently that is urban, and most of the families are well, a lot of the families are refugee families or lower socioeconomic families, and they're not really into thinking about environmental problems, and they just don't have the space for it, totally understandably. And what we found is it's really interesting to then gear our message towards kind of an economic reason for recycling, because it is actually, and this is another thing that we share with the leadership, it's actually cheaper for your school to do recycling because you'll pay less in schools. Principals are getting more and more concerned about, more and more of the onus for budgeting is being put on principals, and so they want to save money. So if we go into a school that's not that environmental, not interested, and they're kind of looking at me going, why are you here? I can actually share that message. It's going to save you money. And the kids relate to that too. So we can say, if you recycle more in your school, you'll have more money for balls on the playground, and they can really relate to that. So it's really important to kind of figure out the culture of the school, and that's what we try to do. The second way we also feel like it's really important to help the students own their learning. Empowering them. So I guess the main thing I want to say about that is it is quite difficult bringing this message of environmental destruction and rubbish in the oceans, and because we start our lessons by saying there's a worldwide trash problem. We show them pictures of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. But the main thing is that we want to empower them, because these kids that are growing up now, they know that there's this big issue, and we can't pretend that they don't. And it's a real irresponsibility on our parts if we don't give them the tools to do something about it, and also give the teachers the tools to help their students, because a lot of the teachers have no clues and they're feel really helpless. So that's our big message as we go in there, and we just want to empower those kids. And if you can choose to put first of all, choose to put things in the bin. Second of all, choose to put people's stuff in the bin. That's a huge thing. They're like, ooh, yuck, we're not going to pick that up. And we have a huge, yes, put it all in the bin. And then third, what goes in each bin? It really makes a difference. We show them pictures, videos of the MRFs and the people that work at the MRFs. And if it doesn't go into the MRFs, it it goes into the river, and we show them pictures of what happens there. So really empowering them, and then helping them to help their school. So what we do is, like at one school, the recycling just wasn't working out. The new bins were just contaminated. So we really worked with one class, and these year 5s, they came up with a system where they were the bin monitors, and they were out there every day for months, you know, going like this at all the other kids to make sure that they all put the things in the bin. By the end of the school year, everybody was pretty clear with it. So kids teaching kids is a real important message. And the last thing is this ongoing collaboration. So between Midwaste and Cascade, all the councils and all the schools, if we can build this community together, that's what's really going to work, and it's ongoing. So this is the general assist, the groundsman at Bellingen High School, and we put bins in there. I worked with the student environment team to come up with 7 recycling stations, and everything was going well. I checked back in a few months later. He was crabby. The kids were crabby. There was huge contamination rates, so we all had to meet again. And he was the one that said, we only need 3 recycling stations, 1 by the canteen, 1 here and 1 there, and all the other ones are being contaminated. They don't need to be there. And it worked. So. And then they've invited us back every year to talk to their year 7s, inducting them into the waste management system of that high school. So these ongoing, these ongoing collaborations are really important, and I can't stress that enough. That's why it works. And just to finish, you know, why we do it, it's back to that message of empowering these young people to give them some strength to know that they can actually make a really big difference, and the teachers as well, because teachers need all the help we can get. And they influence their families. I had one parent saying, "You've turned my child into an eco-bully." Like they have to sit at, yay! But you know, they have to sit, they're not only allowed to have one light on at home at night, and they're not allowed to use takeaway ever, you know. So I'm like, okay, I'll take that. So thank you very much, and look forward to the panel afterwards.